Hello, listeners. Welcome back as we are dropping another episode in our series sponsored by our good friends at Railsware. Railsware is a leading product studio with two main focuses, services and products. They have created amazing products like Mailtrap, Coupler, and Titan apps, while also partnering with teams like Calendly and BrightBytes. They deliver amazing products and have happy customers to prove it. In this series, we are digging into the company's methods around product engineering and development. In particular, we will cover relevant topics to not only highlight their expertise, but to educate you on industry trends alongside their experience. In today's episode, we are chatting with Julia Starun, Product Director at Railsware with over 17 years of experience in product management, business process automation, and optimization. Julia will share her insights into where an MBA helps you manage a product team and where it doesn't. Julia, thank you for being on Code Story today. Excited to jump into our topic today around, does an MBA help you manage a product team? I'm an MBA myself. Super excited to hear from the product director at Railsware. You have 17 years of experience in product management and building awesome products. So really excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Noah. And great to hear that this is something that you are also interested in. I just recently graduated. 5 days ago, I just got my diploma. It's all fresh, let's say, and maybe we can compare our experience.
Absolutely. Congratulations. I know it's a lot of work to get an MBA. It was a lot of work for me as well and really got a lot of value out of it. But I'm really curious to dive into the overlap and the drive in product management. Before your MBA, which you got 5 days ago, you just mentioned, what was your story before that? And what motivated you to pursue it?
For the past 5 years, which means 3 years before I started MBA, I was managing products here in Railsware, and Railsware is a flat structure company, meaning that all of the teams are responsible. You don't need to babysit, but you need to wear many hats. For example, I was overseeing not only product development and leadership of the engineering team, but also, of course, marketing, sales, like monetization of the products, and all other things. And even though before that, for over 10 years, I was automating processes in different companies across the globe, including marketing processes, including sales processes, finance, everything. I felt like in order to actually have some hands-on practice and execute those changes in departments and know how to build marketing from scratch, how to understand what is the best go-to-market strategy, it's not enough to have such experience only from the big companies. I lack some frameworks, some structured approach. And that was the reason why I joined MBA program, because I thought that I will get some fundamentals and I will cover the gap between what I see right now on the market and actually what I experienced when I was automating processes in big companies before that.
Certainly. I appreciate you walking through that. And I relate to that. As an engineer and a purely technical individual in my undergrad, I went and got my MBA to fill some of those business gaps that I wasn't aware of, to give me more of a foundation to become an entrepreneur and a product builder. To jump right into the gaps, right? What real world gaps between MBA theory, right, which is fresh on your mind, just finishing, and product management practices did you discover at Railsware? Those real world gaps between the MBA theory and product management?
Main thing is that all of the MBA information that I got, except some ad hoc courses, let's say, so everything that is inside the main program, let's say, it's all built on some structured hierarchies, slow changes. So more tends to cover how it works in big corporates, but not small startups. For example, even in small details, we are using Slack, and this is something that everyone are aware about. And on time management course, they still teach how to deal with emails and how to overcome the full inbox. Right now, we can actually, OpenAI recently launched their new browser, and you can use agents to organize your email box. And on the courses on MBA, I was taught that I need to have a secretary who would do it instead of me. And it's all on different things, not only on the time management part, but also on the leadership, like how you build your relationship with people. It's all a little bit more bureaucratic, if I can say it like that, rather than what I can see in the real world right now in IT. And of course, speed of change, because you need to adapt so fast currently. And also a little bit what I lack, there were a lot of talks around AI during the conferences and some ad hoc courses. But in the main program, of course, it's proven, years of proven track and the keywords like that. But of course, it does not include any AI practices. And I can imagine probably why. However, it feels a little bit outdated.
As you're describing, that's the word that came to my mind, was outdated. And perhaps over time, perhaps as AI becomes more mainstream and trusted, we'll say it's already becoming pretty mainstream, but trusted, maybe it'll become part of that training. I'm curious also on the MBA training, did it help you with the people management side of leading product teams? There's product management itself, there's delivering the product, but it's also the product management side, leading product managers themselves. Did it help you in any way there?
Actually, it only validated my prior leadership approaches. So that's probably the only thing that I didn't change a bit after. Used a lot of things that I learned on marketing courses, for example, or sales or strategy, like finances, those kind of things. However, from the people management, it feels like the experience that I got. And of course, as I was a leader and I was growing for 17 years, I was managing pretty big teams, like 70 people. I participated in many different trainings before dedicated to leadership skills. So that's probably only confirmation of that there is nothing new over there on the market from the leadership perspective. Of course, no one is using like burger feedback, for example, right now, right? But it was known already for 5 years, so nothing changed from this perspective. What I actually wanted to hear, for example, and I did not, and this is something that if I will at any point of time pursue, for example, PhD, so if I will pursue at any point of time PhD, I will be writing about the management and leadership of neurodiverse teams, like people who has autism or ADHD, for example. Because in IT world, it's pretty common that great engineers, they're genius, and not usually, but sometimes geniuses, they are not neurotypical, right? And this topic only recently became like not stigmatized, and people are openly sharing that they have ADHD, for example, and they still are CEOs or super talented architects or engineers. However, there is no fundamentals on how to manage, how to change the approaches of setting up the goals, for example, or regular management. So nothing like that. This is a super new topic, and this is something that I'm interested in. And it was not covered during the MBA. I would say that if I will pursue this goal and our success there, then I will create my own course on this topic for MBA.
Okay, so in an MBA, you learn lots of different frameworks, approaches, tools, things to know, things that have been traditionally used in business. And a lot of them can help with uncertainty. A lot of them can help with problem solving, project management, accounting, all those sorts of things. But in particular, uncertainty. Did your MBA help you manage uncertainty, or did it overcomplicate things, specifically in the realm of product management?
Now, it actually simplified things. You indeed get a lot of frameworks and specific real-world examples where they worked and where they did not, and why it didn't work at that specific case. And then you can actually pick up whatever framework at any point of time. So it helps when you're unsure where to start. Definitely have a lot of foundation how to make more decisions that actually more conscious, let's say. However, it can be overstructured, let's say. So I had this issue even before MBA that I started to build structures even when they are not needed. So kind of second case, and let's build a process that will cover such cases. And sometimes it's not needed. And MBA probably is pursuing this specific approach that everything should have a framework. Everything can be covered with such kind of system. And that's when you need to stop yourself and think about maybe it's not the case and you just need to do the job right now and think about the structure later. So the key is balance. You should use frameworks, however, not as cages, but rather as a foundation to start something and then see how it goes.
Certainly. This next question is I'm actually really excited about because I think it makes so much sense from a product management standpoint. When in MBA, you're understanding or you are taught the business stuff, quote unquote, right? Like the P&L, the unit economics, financial modeling. And I mentioned earlier, project management, accounting, all the things that sort of make a business run. But in particular, P&L, unit economics, and financial modeling around how a product could essentially affect the performance of a business. Does understanding these sorts of things change how you approach product decisions or inform them in any way or modify them? What do you think about that?
And this is actually the best part of what I get from MBA, because as I managed, it didn't affect my people management or leadership anyhow. However, the way how I approach product decisions changed a lot. For example, like we studied 35 different monetization strategies, like 35 of them. And we were forced to think about all of them, like how to apply them, for example, to the coffee shop. And usually we think about what? Flat fees, subscriptions, everyone wants subscription, maybe some pay-as-you-go, and that's it, because that is something that is lying on the surface. But there are much more of the things that you can actually, how you can monetize your product. And it stimulates creative thinking as well. So at this point of time, this exercise taught me that quantity actually can become a quality when you generate such things. So you know that there are 35 things over there. And instead of thinking, how can I apply my subscription model to this product? So how can I monetize it to get my perfect SaaS metrics? You can think wider and about many more other approaches, how to get monetization, how to build go-to-market strategy, how to position your brand. So it broadens your problem-solving lens for sure.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And when I think about product management and decisions, even thinking about all those different pieces, it really amplifies the impact from product decisions as well, knowing those details. Does an MBA business strategy training help product managers think beyond features to market positioning? I think this sort of overlaps with the last question a bit, but maybe in particular, the market positioning.
Absolutely. I practiced all of the theories based on the 3 different cases, as I'm wearing several hats inside Railsware. So I am overseeing Railsware Product Studio as the consultancy part, where we actually build products for other customers. And also we have our own products. So each of our product, we can actually look at it as a separate business, right? So all of the strategies and all of the positioning and all of the other practices, I practiced on 3 cases. That's Railsware Product Studio, Coupler.io, that's one of our products, and also TradeZella as one of the consultancy products I'm currently leading. And each time, it's different businesses. So you think about, okay, what will be the target goal for the next 3 years, for example, would be the money only, or should we grab some market share? And it actually, so no one asks you to do that for some artificial cases. They actually say, hey, you know your business so well, so you need to actually practice it on your business, come up with some strategy how to improve your position on the market, and you need to do that. And it's been validated by other bright people with brightest minds over there. It's, thinking about the problems of your business together with C-level executives from other companies. It's so much improves the quality of the decisions and ideas that you get that it's hard to repeat outside of this environment of the MBA.
So you mentioned your story around before you got your MBA and what motivated you to go there. For someone who's already managing product teams, when does pursuing an MBA make sense versus other learning paths, right? Because you maybe could piece together some of these things, some of these frameworks, these tools, these approaches. You could go other routes to learn things. But for the MBA and for the MBA specifically, when does it make sense?
I would say 2 cases. So the first one is when you look at the product manager skill matrix, let's say, when you will ask, what should product manager know? You will get a lot of things, but one of them would be helicopter view, visioning, things like that. And this is something that, if you will try, how can I train it? You will not find it. It's not, Mixpanel course. This is something that is really hard to get unless you actually start to practice. So when you have your own product, you must do it. But you don't know how, so you will definitely make some mistakes, so you will fail. That is why we have that 10% rate of survival for all of the startups. But as a product manager that works in big company, let's say, you almost don't have possibility to practice this. And you can ask your mentor, but then mentor also say, I don't know how. And this is exactly the moment when MBA comes, because you will learn how to do it and you will have ability to practice it. So as I mentioned, I did my, let's say, homeworks based on the 3 different businesses that I am currently overseeing here in Railsware. But also I was engaged, for example, in the startup of my colleague from MBA. And currently, like in several weeks, I will visit Web Summit with his startup as well, because I know so much about his business. I helped him to build this pitch deck, and he already raised some of the investments that I decided to help him a little bit further. And that's actually the second thing. So I mentioned that 2 cases. So the second is to broaden your network. Everyone says about networking, but it's not about just have a lot of people in your LinkedIn. It's about have connections with people who can actually help you to get investment or review your pitch deck. And that's exactly when MBA colleagues can help you, because they all are super qualified specialists, like high-level executives or business owners. And their point of view is unique, and you have many of them. So you can run your idea with them in a classroom, like within 5-10 minutes, you will get so many challenging questions that you didn't think about that you won't get anywhere else.
That makes a ton of sense. And those other MBA folks and being qualified essentially for the conversation, so to speak, is super valuable. I've got one more question, and this is going to be based on your personal experience. What's your biggest surprise about how an MBA education did or maybe didn't change the way you approach the realities of product team leadership? I could probably cherry pick some things from the questions we've asked and the things that have been helpful and the things that haven't, or maybe haven't changed or validated the way, when you talk about people management, validated the way you do things. I'm curious what your biggest surprise was.
For example, I expected no new knowledge in some of the areas because I am also teaching MBA courses in other business school. It's related to process management. And then yet, even on the business process management course here in MBA, I learned some new approaches. We got people from different business schools around Europe who were providing us trainings from St. Gallen University of Switzerland, from Krakow Economical University, from Italy, from France, and all of them bring different perspective from United States as well. So different countries, they like different frameworks and different approaches. And what I learned during my career was mostly taken from what we use in Ukraine and Poland, while other countries actually have other things that are popular there and they work. So it expanded my knowledge a lot, while I didn't expect it, to be honest. However, for example, from managing people perspective, as I mentioned, it didn't change anything, even though I thought that can actually help. The real shift currently is how I articulate the strategy, how I connect this business and product, and how I articulate my thoughts to business owners. So currently we're talking with same words. We are discussing the same things, and I can say that, hey, it's usually in business, you don't do that at this point of your company growth. We need this strategy, or for example, we can try that market and stuff like that. So you start to operate with more high-level concepts, and you have this vision of how business should grow at different point of times, which I definitely didn't have before.
That fits with the answers you've given to the questions too. I really appreciate you being on the show today, Julia. You really highlight that an MBA is valuable. MBA techniques can feel a bit outdated, but can validate some other management techniques. They've simplified things for you when it comes to product management. And the best part is understanding the business stuff, which helps you change how you approach product decisions, fuel product decisions to maximize impact to a business based on those product decisions. So I really appreciate you being on the show. I think it highlights a lot of really great stuff about the MBA.
Thanks for inviting me. Have a great day. Thank you.
Julia outlined some important points about how an MBA can feel a little bit outdated compared to how fast the product management industry moves. That said, the value from understanding the quote-unquote business stuff changes how you approach product decisions, which can vastly improve product outcomes. Thank you for listening today. If you would like to learn more about Railsware, please visit their website at railsware.com. That's RAILSWARE.com. And thanks again for listening.